I want a child of my own too. In a sarcastic tone, my husband Patrick said. I finally couldn't take it anymore and spoke up. What? What are you talking about? Isn't it right in front of you? I had been harshly criticized by Patrick for not being able to have children. Even now, he's holding my sister's baby in front of me, as if to make a show of it. What? Patrick's mouth gaped open. Despite all the evidence, he intends to feign ignorance. I won't let him. I'll push you into hell myself. My name is Janet Cohen. I'm a 25-year-old housewife. All right, it's done. I was preparing dinner in the kitchen. When I opened the large clay pot, the refined aroma of spices wafted through my nose. I tasted the stew I scooped from the pot. The spiciness is okay, the meat is tender okay, yes, it's exactly to his liking. Just as I sighed in satisfaction. I'm home. My husband Patrick came back. I went to the entrance to greet him. Welcome back. Today's dinner is your favorite stew. As I took Patrick's bag at the entrance and was about to go back to the room. Hey. Patrick grabbed my shoulder. I felt a piercing gaze on my back. How did it go? Today was the day, right? I gasped at his words. My heart throbbed, and I started to feel dizzy. Answer me. I swallowed and opened my mouth. It didn't work out. This month too, the baby didn't come. I clenched my hands tightly. Seeing this, Patrick sighed heavily. Again? Why can't we have a child? Making stew as if you're trying to appease me. I'm sorry, but don't make excuses. All my friends have kids right after they get married. Thinking of names, buying baby clothes, they seem so happy. I want children too. But we've only been married for 3 months, there's no need to rush. Patrick stared at my face. Then, as if he had thought of something, he snorted through his nose. You're not incapable as a woman, are you? Go see a gynecologist or something. Patrick snatched the bag from me and left for his room. I covered my face with both hands. I too want a child. To carry a new life and feel the love for it. To be moved by every step of my child's growth. But perhaps I'm not qualified for that. My parents disappeared before I was fully aware. They vanished, leaving us behind. Left behind were me and my twin sister. I grew up without knowing my parents' love. Can I really become a proper parent? It always worries me. But I can't give up. I truly want a child, so surely, someday, God will grant us one. I'll keep my spirits up and wait for that day. Next month is our long-awaited wedding ceremony. It's a bit late, but that only makes me more excited. All right. Smile, smile. I went to call Patrick for dinner. Today is Patrick's birthday. I decorate the cake and prepare a present. As I wait for Patrick's return, the doorbell rings. It's rare for someone to ring the bell. I hurriedly open the door. There stood a woman. Her face and style were like that of a movie star. She smoothly brushed her glossy black hair over her shoulder. Excuse me for intruding. It was my twin sister, Valerie. We are dizygotic twins. Seeing my sister, who looks nothing like me, I opened my eyes wide. Valerie? What's the matter? What, I just came to visit. But today is Patrick's birthday, right? I wanted us to celebrate it just the two of us. Didn't I send you an email? Suddenly realizing, her sister clasps her hands in front of her chest. Sorry. I forgot. I just wanted to see you so badly. I've been feeling lonely since Janet got married. Ever since I got married, my sister has been visiting unexpectedly, not weekly, but once every 3 days. This has left little time for my husband, Patrick, and me to spend alone. And we've hardly had a proper conversation recently. However, whenever I hear my sister say she's lonely, I find myself unable to say anything. We are the only family each other has. Hey, sis. I'm giving you this bag. I haven't been using it much lately. I opened the paper bag my sister gave me. Oh. This is from a famous designer. It's fine. I usually give these to my friends. This time, it's for you. Take this and go out to dinner with friends. Oh. But you don't really have friends like I do, huh? Oh, look at this. The party I had recently. She shows me a photo. In it, my sister and over 100 of her friends are enjoying an elegant dinner. I chuckle softly. Valerie, you're such a social butterfly. You're the complete opposite of me, really amazing. You work hard, have money, and you have a boyfriend, right? Well, yeah, that's nothing special. She laughs proudly. I can't help but give a wry smile. Huh? Then, she notices the table and freezes. She bursts out laughing, holding her stomach. Wait, did you make this cake yourself? Yeah. Is it weird? Everyone knows bought cakes are more appreciated. You really do thankless tasks, poor sis. She leans in, smiling at me. But, that's what's cute about you. She grins brightly. Then, suddenly, her eyes sparkle with excitement. Oh. I actually have some news. I'm home. Patrick returns from work. We stop our conversation to greet today's star. As I'm cutting the cake, Patrick and my sister start watching TV and getting overly excited. This actress is so pitiful, huh? Got married and couldn't have kids. And by the time she finally did, she was 40. How miserable. Really. They seem to get along well, often gossiping about celebrities. They're like a real couple. Oh, look. Baby pictures. My heart skips a beat at her words. Babies are symbols of happiness. I think giving birth is a mission since I was born a woman. A woman who can't have children isn't really a woman. I get it. Valerie, we really see eye to eye. We do have a lot in common. I serve the cake silently. Hear that, Janet? Patrick teases me. Then, my sister suddenly covers her mouth, realizing. Sorry. I didn't mean to talk about you. I was talking about something else. At that moment, my sister looks at me and smirks. It's an expression I've never seen on her before. I sense a definite malice. The reason my sister comes to visit is that she's lonely without her sister. That's why I couldn't turn her away. But, is that really the truth? After the party ended and my sister went home, I received a message on my phone. I'm actually pregnant. Remember I said I had news? Of course, I plan to get married. Sorry for being happy first. Family being happy should be a joyous occasion, something to celebrate. Yet, something dark grows within me. Time flies by. Today is the long-awaited wedding day. We chose a small local church for the venue. It's somewhat modest, but I wanted to save as much money as possible for the future children. After getting dressed in my wedding gown, I'm relaxing in the dressing room. But that piece is shattered in an instant. Bang. The door swings open with force. I'm here. Congratulations, sis. Startled, I turn to look at my sister. But then, an even more shocking sight unfolds. Valerie, that outfit. What? What is it? I swallow hard before speaking. You can't wear white at a wedding. Yes, my sister was dressed in pure white. She puts her hands together in an exaggerated gesture of apology. Sorry. I really tried to avoid it, but I just love this dress too much. Plus. She smiles mischievously. It looks good on me, doesn't it? This dress. Proudly striking a pose, my sister tilted her head as if looking down on me, eyeing me up and down. Is that handmade? It looks more like a normal dress than a wedding one. It doesn't have the fluffy shape typical of a wedding dress. Yes. I have a favorite designer who made it just for me. Sewing in lots of embroidery of my favorite flowers. My sister smiled with just her mouth. Oh, how nice for you. Embroidery usually gives off an old lady vibe. But well, it suits you very well, sister. So, it's all good, right?
Ah.
Thank you. I grimaced. Hey, it's time to go. Patrick said bluntly as he entered the dressing room. Not even a simple compliment. I sighed deeply. The ceremony ended without a hitch, and the reception began. And now, a speech from a family member. My sister stepped up to the microphone. Instantly, the men in the venue started murmuring. Beautiful. Gorgeous. I wish I could marry someone like her. Their gazes skipped over the dress, entangling with her beauty and figure. Ahem, hello. I'm the bride's sister, Valerie. There are a few empty seats today, but thank you all for being here. The reception was 30% absent. I had prepared seats for my sister's friends, but none of them showed up. As you can see, my sister doesn't have friends, just a mere 8 people. She always stays in on weekends, munching on snacks and tapping on her smartphone. Isn't that pitiful? Laughter trickled from the venue. I felt my blood run cold. Valerie, what are you saying? It's a wedding, a reception, you know? But I love my sister just the way she is. Patrick, please make her happy. My sister flashed an angelic smile. Applause erupted. I didn't even want to think about for whom that was meant. After the reception, I called my sister to the dressing room. Valerie, what was that about? Those empty seats were for your friends, right? You made it sound like it was my fault. I pleaded desperately, but my sister just smiled awkwardly and patted my head. Don't be mad. If you worry about this, life will be hard from now on. My friends said it was a nice ceremony. They both acted as if nothing was wrong. Why, how? Laughing at my panic, they both just laughed out loud. I stood frozen, unable to comprehend this inexplicable reality. Soon after, my in-laws arrived. They consoled me and scolded Patrick and Valerie. I felt a bit relieved, but suspicions about the two of them began to surface in my mind. Little by little, but surely, a sense of unease had been building. 10 months passed. Patrick, my in-laws, and I were driving to a certain place. Patrick, at the wheel, was visibly excited. Really looking forward to this. You feel the same, right, Janet? I remained silent, looking down. We arrived at my sister's house. Patrick and the in-laws started fussing around the living room sofa. So cute. Glad he was born healthy. At the center was my sister, with her baby. She ran over to me, holding the baby. Look, sister. Isn't he cute? He looks just like me. My sister was radiating happiness, yet her eyes widened. Seemingly enjoying my reaction, her mouth twisted in amusement. Congratulations. I murmured softly, looking down. Wow, so cute. Can I hold him? Of course. Patrick held the baby, his eyes sparkling. Babies are really the symbol of happiness, huh? Look, Janet. Isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the matter, jealous of Valerie? That's why you're not getting pregnant. Patrick, holding the baby, looked at me with a smirk, as if to flaunt. I want a kid of my own too. At that moment, something snapped in my head. What? Isn't he right in front of you? Huh? Patrick's mouth fell open in shock. What? The in-laws froze, eyes wide. I pointed at the baby in Patrick's arms, making sure everyone could hear every word clearly. Right there. Your child. The adorable baby of you and Valerie. The air turned icy. Patrick's face went pale, and Valerie's face contorted. I pulled out photos from my bag and scattered them on the floor. The photos clearly showed Patrick and my sister heading into a hotel together. I know everything about Patrick and Valerie's affair. As I declared this, my sister burst out laughing. Stop it, this must be some kind of fake, right? Don't be stupid. The stupid one is Valerie. I suspected something fishy between you two. So I installed surveillance cameras at home. And then, on a day I was away, you two. I pulled out my smartphone and played the video. The footage of Valerie and Patrick's intimate moments started playing in the living room. Valerie's face turned beet red instantly. What is this? Stop it. Stop it now. She lunged at me like a madwoman. After snatching the smartphone from me, she threw it against the wall with all her might, stomping on it repeatedly. The smartphone screen shattered loudly, emitting strange noises. I watched my sister with a cold gaze. It's useless as Valerie. My sister, who was tearing up the photos, looked up at me when I spoke. Useless? What do you mean? Then, a furious shout filled the room. Patrick. My father-in-law had grabbed Patrick by the collar. You betrayed Janet? With her own sister. You monster. And you even made a child. How do you plan to take responsibility, you idiot son? Tears streamed down my mother-in-law's face. Patrick trembled under the accusation from his parents. Wait. We don't even know if the child is mine and Valerie's. Janet is just trying to make me look bad by saying whatever she wants. DNA test. Huh? I declared loudly. A DNA test will reveal whose child it is. Why don't you go to the hospital? Though Patrick was lost for words, he stubbornly pleaded with his parents. Look, Janet can't even get pregnant. A woman who can't bear children isn't fit to be a wife, right? Are you out of your mind? The one who's unfit as a spouse is you, for having an affair. But, that's... Patrick avoided eye contact. Seeing this, my in-laws sighed heavily and turned their gaze away. You have something to say too. Why did you do this? Betraying your family is a grave sin. Valerie flinched. It's not my fault. The bad one is Janet. She glared at me, grinding her teeth, with a face like a demon. It's your fault for stealing the person I loved first. What? I had no recollection of such a thing. After our parents left us, I always acted strong. But you were always so mopey. It was so annoying. Yet, my first love chose you over me. Said he liked Janet. Felt sorry for her and couldn't leave her alone. That's when I vowed. If you wanted to be pitied so much, I'd make you the most pitiful of all. First, I made you taste loneliness. I kept saying our parents are gone. It's so lonely, isn't it? Then you grew up to be a gloomy kid with no friends. Poor thing, huh? Next, I made you feel inferior. Made sure you knew I was amazing and you weren't. Giving me high-end items and bragging about her many friends were all to make me feel inferior. And probably, stealing Patrick was part of it too. Now you see, right? You're beneath me. Betrayed by your husband, hated by your sister? You're the most pitiful woman in the world." Valerie laughed triumphantly. But I felt nothing. I am pitiful? So, Valerie thinks that way. Got it. She probably expected me to be a loser. She just stood there, puzzled with my calmness. But I don't care about that anymore. Now, I just hate Valerie. I loved you so much, and you've been manipulating me like this all along. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. So, I'll return everything you did to me. All of it. I mimicked my sister's laugh. Then, Valerie backed away as if she had seen a monster. Was my face that scary? Look forward to it, both of you. I left the house alone. Months have passed since then. Patrick slapped the divorce papers in front of me and left. He was undoubtedly heading to Valerie's place. Today, I attended a wedding. It was cold, so I wore a thick long cardigan over my dress, making sure the dress underneath couldn't be seen at all. The church was one of the largest in the US, with more than 100 attendees. There were so many people, I couldn't even get a clear view of the bride and groom. The same must be true for the bride and groom. They made their entrance, and applause filled the air. The priest began the vows. Do you, Patrick Cohen, take Valerie as your wife, to have and to hold? In good times and bad, in wealth and in poverty, in sickness and in health. Today was Valerie and Patrick's wedding day. I learned about the wedding a month after that showdown, when Valerie announced her pregnancy and marriage to Patrick on social media. The post also mentioned the wedding. They prepared quite quickly. Probably, they had been planning this even before my wedding was arranged. That's why Valerie didn't invite her friends to my wedding. I didn't make invitations for Valerie's friends. She said she'd create a group chat and check the attendees herself. I thought it was my sister's thoughtfulness wanting to lessen my burden with the wedding preparations. But now that I think about it, she probably never made that group chat. She lied about everyone attending. No one was invited to the wedding. That's why no one came. Such a simple answer. Looking back, it seems like Patrick also invited only acquaintances with whom he had a shallow relationship. Before and after our marriage, I was never introduced to Patrick's close friends. Whether Patrick had been connected with my sister before our marriage or it was just bad timing, the reason will forever remain a mystery. But this much I can say. They wanted this to be their first wedding. They wanted to erase all the time they spent with me. I couldn't forgive that. What was all the time I loved Patrick for, all the time I spent for Patrick for? Destroying one person's life and then becoming happy by themselves, I couldn't forgive that. I reaffirmed my decision for revenge. Once the wedding ceremony concluded, the reception began. Perhaps due to the crowd, it was a standing party, and the venue was bustling. I stayed hidden in a corner. Now, we have a special video message from the groom's parents who couldn't make it today. Please take a look. The staff announced proudly. What? Valerie and Patrick were taken aback. The venue's screen lit up, showing my in-laws. They were smiling, but their eyes held the sharpness of predators hunting their prey. It's finally starting. I watched the screen and chuckled softly. Patrick, Valerie, congratulations on your wedding. Congratulations. In the video, they exchanged smiles. Thank you to everyone for coming today. As a token of our gratitude, we'd like to give you a gift. Excited murmurs rose from the crowd. What is it? A present? The mother-in-law continued. It's a gift of words. Now, over to you, honey. Sure, leave it to me. He tightened his previously relaxed expression, turning it into something fierce. There's the bride, right? She's Patrick Cohen's affair partner. And that affair partner is her own sister-in-law. Do you understand what we're saying? That's not a pair of fresh newlyweds there. They're monsters who had an affair. We will never acknowledge this marriage between these two. And henceforth, we are cutting off all ties. Stop the video. Just as Patrick's scream echoed, the video abruptly cut off. But it was already too late. Shocked by the video, the attendees were at a loss for words. Patrick stood up and shouted, "Everyone. That was just a joke from my parents. A bit too stimulating, I guess." The crowd began to murmur. "Yes, that's right. That was just..." As Valerie grabbed the microphone to start explaining, I snatched it from her. "It's all true." With just those words, I discarded my cardigan, revealing a white dress beneath. A year ago, I wore this dress to marry Patrick. You remember, right, Patrick? Patrick, turning pale, was frozen in place. Seizing the moment, I took out something from the envelope I was holding and scattered it around the venue. They were photos of Valerie and Patrick's affair and photos from my wedding with Patrick. The copied photos were enough to reach all the attendees. Looking over the tumultuous venue, I took a breath. I did it. I really did it. After everything was over, I slumped down in a half-daze. Suddenly, someone grabbed me by the collar. Looking up, Valerie was staring at me with eyes wide open as if they might pop out. "Why are you here? I didn't invite you. I didn't even tell you the place or the time." I couldn't help but laugh at how flustered she was. "What are you talking about, Valerie? You told me yourself. On social media." A hint, was it? I figured it out right away. Valerie's marriage announcement on social media included the wedding date, clear as day. August 18th. A day for Couples Day. And with every update on social media, she began to talk in detail about the venue's atmosphere and her meticulous search for it. Probably meant as a dig at me. "I'm having such a wonderful wedding. Not like yours." But that became my clue. A simple search online and I found it. Social media can be scary, huh? But how did you get into the venue? Your name wasn't on the list. I sighed, giving her the obvious answer. Because I'm the bride's sister. The person at the reception knew my face. So, they let me in. They wouldn't turn away the bride's sister just because her name wasn't on the list, right? You mean, that video was you? You brought it in, saying it was a surprise, keeping it secret from me? We didn't invite the two of them. That's right. My father-in-law and mother-in-law sided with me. They came to my house, apologized, and said they couldn't stand to see Patrick and Valerie happy. So, we all came up with today's plan together. I pointed at the venue and laughed. Look, everyone's leaving. Seeing the departing guests, my sister's face turned pale. Wait. Please. Her friends turned back to her in unison. Oh. Valerie. Why are you leaving? Those photos. The photos might be fake. But we don't want to be associated with someone who might have had an affair. Being seen with you would lower our value. Value? But we're friends, right? Nice of you to say that after luring us with high-end goods. Well, we were friendly with you for that reason too. So, we helped you, right? Taking group photos to show off to someone. That's... Let me say this last thing. You see us as numbers, don't you? The more, the better. You don't care about us as individuals. It must have hit home. Valerie bit her lip hard. Goodbye, Valerie. The friends left. The venue fell silent, leaving only my sister sitting on the floor. Patrick holding his head, and me, strangely calm. Well then, Valerie, see you. I left the venue. A few days after my sister's wedding, I was relaxing at home, knowing well that the peace was only temporary. The doorbell rang. I checked the peephole and opened the door. Janet. Patrick lunged at me. How dare you pull such a ridiculous stunt? Ruining our happiness. Unbelievable. You evil woman. Valerie appeared behind Patrick and shoved me. I hit the wall and slid down to the floor. But I didn't care. I murmured in a cold voice. You two never learn. But it's good you came to me. What? Valerie crossed her arms and looked down at me. Patrick, check your email. There's important information. What? Right before opening the door, I had sent an email. I made sure to attach photos and videos. Photos and videos? You're doing that again. Patrick reluctantly checked his phone, his face turning increasingly angry. He turned to my sister, shoving the screen in her face. Valerie. Who the hell is this guy? Displayed were photos of Valerie, dressed provocatively, holding hands with several older men. The videos showed her entering and exiting hotels with them and receiving money. Sugar daddy dating, right? Valerie. I stated matter-of-factly. You always buy high-name stuff, Valerie. You wanted to show off to me, but that's impossible on a regular salary. So, I did some digging. Turns out, playing detective can be quite fun. You. Valerie fumed. Next to her, Patrick hung his head. Hey, Patrick. Did you do the DNA test? Huh? I told you. A DNA test would show if the child is yours and Valerie's. There's no need for that, because... Patrick gasped, realizing a horrifying possibility. Patrick. I spoke clearly. Whose child is it, I wonder? In that moment, Patrick gripped Valerie's hand tightly. Facing her directly, he whispered. Valerie, did you betray me? After all you did to seduce me, even the child. What are you saying? That child is yours. You doubt me. Of course. How can I trust a woman who does sugar daddy dating in secret? You trust Janet over me. Then you'll agree to a DNA test, right? We're going to the hospital tomorrow, okay? Patrick clung to her hand, desperate to believe in Valerie. That's, well. Her hesitant response was all the proof needed. Patrick raked his hands through his hair. Damn it. Thought having a beautiful wife would be something to brag about. But look at this mess. You sisters have ruined my life. Patrick stomped around, lashing out at furniture and appliances before storming out of the house. Valerie, pushed aside by Patrick, sat on the floor, head bowed. Valerie. I looked down at my sister and teased her. So, how do you feel now? Valerie twitched in response. Once the child's test comes back, Patrick will probably leave you, Valerie. And now, you've lost all your friends too. Valerie glared at me fiercely. I have friends. Not everyone has left me. Then what kind of messages did you receive? Huh? She exclaimed in surprise, evidently not expecting such a question. After the ceremony. Did anyone worry about you? Did anyone ask for your side of the story? Did anyone encourage you? Valerie uncomfortably averted her gaze from me. I received messages. Even when Valerie tried to humiliate me with that odd speech. Even when Patrick and I divorced. Sure, I only have 8 friends. But each of them worried about me and comforted me. Despite having many times more friends than I do, Valerie, you weren't worried about by anyone. Valerie's teeth gritting could be heard. Abandoned by the man you stole from me, and now friendless. Valerie, that's pitiful. It was a heartfelt statement. Valerie suddenly raised her head and raised her voice. Pitiful? Me? What are you talking about? That's just your perspective. I'm not pitiful. I'm beautiful, have a great figure. And men dote on me because I'm worth it. The one who's pitiful is you. With nothing to show for yourself. I responded emotionlessly to Valerie's angry shouts. You're right. Then let me say this. Valerie, you are not above me. Not before. Not now. Not ever. What? You know, I've always praised you as amazing, haven't I? For having so many high-name items, for having so many friends. You wanted me to admit that you were superior, right? Yes. So what? The thing is, I've never once thought you were amazing. What? I glanced at the bag Valerie had thrown to the floor. I have no interest in brand name goods. And I'm not bothered by having a few friends. I've never aspired to have many friends. That's my value system. So Valerie, you've never had the upper hand over me. What? That's a lie, right? You've always been jealous of me, said I was amazing. I said those things to make you happy. Because we're family. You don't dismiss someone who's proudly sharing their achievements with you as unimportant. In other words, I was flattering you. You took it seriously. What? But. Because I loved you, Valerie. We were the only family we had, and I didn't want to lose you, so I was careful with my words. Valerie screamed with a trembling voice. You're lying. You were distressed because you couldn't have children. That doesn't matter to me anymore. I sighed as I responded. During my time with Patrick, I was obsessed with the idea that I had to have children. But life isn't that simple. There are many different people and many ways to live a fulfilling life. I'm no longer tormented by my desire for children. Then, what about me, what I did? Valerie began to tremble uncontrollably. Unable to stand on her own, I dragged her outside. Goodbye, Valerie. I closed the door behind me. Afterward, Valerie and Patrick divorced. According to the results of a paternity test, Patrick was not the father of Valerie's child. The news of Valerie and Patrick's affair spread quickly. Considering they invited 100 people to their wedding, it was inevitable. Both Valerie and Patrick lost their jobs and struggled to find new employment, living a difficult life on day labor. I moved away to start a new life elsewhere. In a place without Valerie and Patrick, I intended to forget everything and start over. Today, I was going to visit a friend who just had a baby. Carrying a gift for the baby, I rang the doorbell. My friend, opening the door, had the happiest smile. Congratulations. I sincerely offered my congratulations.